So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and welcome to the iPhone 17e versus the iPhone 17 speed test. So let's go ahead and begin this video with a boot up in 3, 2, go, and see which one can get there first. Now the reason for this video is we're trying to see, does that 17e live up to its price tag? Well, so like it's up there, it's $600 or so. So we're gonna see if this is really the value option here, because we're gonna see how it compares next to the iPhone 17, which is arguably the best iPhone value in years, maybe is, and it turns on a little bit faster with that test, probably because there's a few more apps loaded up on the 17, but generally, I've been enjoying that the 17e finally gives us MagSafe. It definitely has a faster CPU inside. It also has the same PWM display dimming feature and accessibility. So it does have quite a few things that the base 17s give you, but it doesn't have camera control and it doesn't have dual camera. So there are a few things you're missing out on Dynamic Island as well. But if you still like the notch, this is going to be one of the last times you can get an iPhone with a notch. All right, guys. So when it comes to Face ID, both of them are unlocking the same exact speed, but because the 17 does have the ProMotion display, if you look at the animation when coming in, it looks smoother to slide in there. So that ProMotion does make a difference even on Face ID. Also, the animation looks a little bit nicer, I would say, in the Dynamic Island, as it's just kind of like this little unlock button over here on the screen. But you can definitely see that 60 hertz with the flying effect right there. It's not that noticeable, but when you compare it next to this newer phone, it looks much smoother to animate into the device. But in terms of speed, it doesn't seem like we're seeing any substantial difference there. Let's go ahead and unlock that one. So getting in is about the same clip though. Now, when swiping through the iPhone 17e, I heard some comments saying that they've tried out the iPhone 17e and they could see it look a little bit stuttery by comparison to the other phones, and they're talking about the 60 hertz. It is noticeably a little bit more less smooth, but I don't think for most buyers of this phone probably going to care too much. Kind of like the MacBook Neo. You're not buying a MacBook Neo expecting a 120 hertz, and that's not a cop out, because in the phone game there are a lot of phones in this price tag giving you a 90 to 120 hertz, so it's not an excuse. Apple does need to bring ProMotion to the E line. But as of right now, you know, it still runs good, and it's still value packed. Like, it still has a lot of feature set that a lot of people are going to like the Apple ecosystem. This camera is a fusion camera, so you can do pretty decent zoom. The display is pretty nice. It has True Tone. It does have the PWM features like I talked about earlier. This has a faster chip, many years of updates. So it's still a really value packed phone. It's just missing the ProMotion is the main thing here with this one. Now, navigating through the 17, if you're coming from any other older iPhone, it's pretty apparent how smooth this phone feels. It feels like a pro base phone, honestly, and that's a really good thing for those of you who've been waiting for just a little bit more out of your iPhone. This is definitely the one to get. It's been the best one I've been recommending over the past several months for most people, and I don't think that's going to change. But you can see navigating through it, it kind of feels a little slicker and smoother, little faster because of the faster refresh. So even general performance I wanted to talk about in this video, it is definitely noticeable between these two. Let's go on and get onto the app test. All right, guys, so everything is closed out for both phones. Let's head into calendar. You could see about the same launch. Let me know if you guys are seeing the difference though between the ProMotion and not when just kind of opening apps. Let's swipe out of there. Let's go into calculator. You could see no major difference. And if the 17e's display looks a little bit nicer, it's because I have the screen protector on. It kind of takes away the anti-glare on the 17, so probably should get a better screen protector. But the 17 does have basically a nicer display overall. You see now it's faster on the 17. We also have the same chips on board, so they should have nearly identical performance. You'll see right there going into Copilot, same thing. Heading into Groupon, you see they are going to launch a little bit faster there. It looked like on the 17e. And as we go to categories, that's taking a second to load there. But it finally came up. Let's swipe up out of here. We're going to go into Apple News. One thing that's nice about both these phones is they're a pretty comfortable size range. So they are devices that you're going to enjoy to hold because they're not large and heavy or anything like that. They're both very light. And some would argue that the 17E is going to give you nicer battery than you might expect because you have the C1X, like the second gen of that modem in there. You know, it is have a pretty large battery and it's pretty optimized. So overall, it's an incredible, I think, value here for the price. It's just, God, they got to put that promotion there. Let's go into Subway Surf right here and see what happens. I forgot to put city on this one, so we're just gonna go with the Rome edition for this video. And you can definitely see I seen a little stuttering there on the 17E. Definitely doesn't quite have that smooth a gameplay either. So I'm seeing the 17E more as that entry-level phone for just entry-level buyers or people that are just don't care about gaming on their phone. They don't care about having 2 cameras. They just need an iPhone, really, or maybe a backup phone or a gift for a parent or a kid or somebody, you know, a gift. Let's just put it that way. You don't want to buy the $1,000 plus iPhone. You just want to get them an iPhone as a gift. Solid option there. And we'll go ahead and see that very smooth right there. And we'll go into Free Fire. And we'll see that the Free Fire is loading slightly faster on the 17. It could be my finger tap slightly. I mean, it's so close here. I mean, we can't really see a huge difference. So 17E is definitely worthy of the title of the 17 naming. All right, guys, so let's go into Destiny Rising on both phones and see what happens here. Now, Destiny Rising does require a little bit of power to run very smoothly. The game also is very fun, and it's going to look better, though, with the smoother frame rates on the 17. So if you like playing any games like these types of games, I do recommend the 17. Bigger battery. Also, it does have smoother look because of the 120 hertz. So it's definitely smoother. Can you still enjoy a game on the iPhone 17e? And the answer is absolutely, because the gameplay is still smooth, mostly because the apps are still very well developed for iPhone. So they're still going to look smooth, but they're just smoother on the 17. All right, guys, so let's go into 3D Mark, and you could see a hair quicker on the right. We'll go into Speed Test Net, about the same right there. We will run a Wi-Fi speed test soon. We'll go to Geekbench 6. That launches first for the 17. Guys, and let's head into iMovie right there, and you could see basically the same, and we'll go into InShot and basically the same. So really what we're just looking at is faster animations on the iPhone 17. Throughout this test, though, I do think the 17 was loading a few things a little bit quicker overall. So to me, it feels slightly quicker. You can see the clock speed is higher at 4.26 gigahertz versus 4.12. So definitely you do get same CPU on spec sheet, but the 17, they have it clocked a little bit higher. So it still is a difference. It's a little bit quicker than the 17e. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and run through the RAM management here for the iPhone 17e. And what you have is pretty solid RAM management that just doesn't look as smooth going through. This one reloaded, Subway Surfers, because of the 8 gigabytes of RAM. It should be solid. We'll go into Instagram, reloading the feed, news, reloading that feed as well, and Groupon with a reload. So 17e not looking great right now. We'll go into Copilot, that was held, Gemini was held, ChatGPT, weather, fine. We'll go to App Store, calculator, clock, and calendar. So you can just see a little bit of stuttering, you know, when going through the apps. It's just so apparent with 60 hertz these days. But the apps, actually a few did reload. The phone is getting pretty toasty as well right now. That could be related as to why. The 17 is a lot cooler to the touch, even though I opened much of the same applications. Let's go ahead and see now that the 17 looks way smoother than the 17e. I mean, you probably already expected that, but to see it in real time, it's pretty apparent. We do have a reload on some of these games here as well on the iPhone 17. I do wonder if the phone is shutting them down to keep the games performing well. It's probably shutting some of them down, but this is basically doing the same thing that the iPhone 17e was doing. Again, 12 gigs of RAM is the king of 2026 on iPhone if you want the absolute best multitasking that's going to be reserved for the Pros and the Air. So you can see right there, pretty solid overall. About the same as the 17E, not too much different when it comes to relaunches, but just the level of smoothness is super apparent. I don't know if the video is picking up, but the iPhone 17 definitely looked nicer, but they were kind of the same in how many applications they were able to hold in the background. It wasn't too much different. And so the final Geekbench 6 results are in, and you could see Apple made sure that the iPhone 17e wasn't going to outperform or even match the 17. As you can see, just that slight overclock makes the 17 perform better in multi-core and single-core scores. But that 17e, these are really good scores for a phone of this price tag. I mean, phones that were flagship level a few years back, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, were not performing this well. So this is really good value performance for the price. But if you're looking at the 17 and this, and you're wondering, is it much better? Well, yeah, it's faster and smoother with ProMotion, and I think the Geekbench and the actual results of what we've been covering so far is proving that. Let's go ahead and take a look now at 3D Mark, and we're going to see if that same story carries over into the graphics area, because I want to see what kind of frame rates they tend to pull out. So I'll be back when they're done with their Wildlife Extreme tests. And the same story is carrying over here into the Wildlife Extremes, where the iPhone 17 is giving us a 4490 and 26.9 FPS. You'll see right here, we got a 3319 and 19.9 FPS. You'll also see that the 17 was able to sustain its performance a bit better, but this score is better than 65% of devices on the market. This one scores better than 84. Now, I do think my 17E feels a lot warmer to the touch, so it might be throttling a bit back here in this test. But definitely the 17 outperformed it here in this extreme wildlife. But I like that we're doing it this way, because we've been running them, doing all these tests, and the phones are warm. We want to see what their capabilities are, and it looks like the 17E is going to push down that performance the heavier you use it. So 17 and up is going to be better for power users. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and pull in a speedtest.net now, and we'll see what we are capable of getting. And I want to make sure that I'm going to have these on the same server. The 17E is pulling in a pretty respectable 480, and we'll see what happens here. 520 down, nearly, so not horrible. We'll see what we can do on the upload, usually hovering around that 41-ish mark, and it's doing about the same as what I would expect. So let's go ahead and try the 17 now. And here we are with the 17. We'll see if we get the same performance or better. And again, this has the Qualcomm modems on board, but this also has Wi-Fi 7. This one I think has only Wi-Fi 6E, and you could see that difference is pretty apparent on the iPhone 17, because I am actually connected to a Wi-Fi 7 router. You'll see right here 41 down, and gonna finish on around the same upload, but look at that difference in download. New high score on that download for my 17 speed tests. So yeah, it's pretty apparent that the 17 is gonna have faster Wi-Fi speeds as well. So that can be a game changer for you if you want fast internet connections. That 17E only doesn't have Wi-Fi 7, and that's going to make your Wi-Fi speeds quite a bit slower. Will you notice it most of the time? Probably not, unless you're like really impatient while very fast internet speeds. But if you do need that, the 17 is definitely the pick here. Last thing I want to do before we get up out of here is go ahead and do a quick camera test. So let's go ahead and bring in last year's iPhone. Well, I think it's like a couple years old now. 16 Pro. It's from 2024. So let's go ahead and click the camera control or the camera button. This one doesn't have camera control on the left. 3, 2, go. And you can see, I think it looked a little stuttery on the 17. We'll do it again. Pretty good on both, but looks a little bit quicker. It's like doing a little bit of bouncing. I think that's because the lenses, that macro lens is on, but you do get the ultra wide. That is the key separator with the 17. You also get a few more features. So the camera, especially the front facing camera, is a big upgrade to go to the 17. You're still getting your basic front facing camera. You don't get the super ultra wide front facing camera like this one right here. Watch this. Bang. So that's like a lot right there, a lot wider on the right. So let's wrap it up here. This was an interesting speed test. I think the value proposition is still there for the 17, but you got to know what you're sacrificing. You're sacrificing faster Wi-Fi speeds. You're sacrificing the ProMotion. You don't get the ultra wide camera, but you get the core essentials. You get pretty good speed. You get a pretty nice screen, not the best screen. You get good cameras, not the best. This has really got compromises, but the compromises they made don't make it a bad phone. I think for basic iPhone use, it's absolutely excellent, but they can still improve that quite a bit. The iPhone 17, though, this is a superstar value, and to me, the faster and better phone pick of these two. If you could just save up a little bit, 17 all day, not even a question. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.